Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Frankie B. All right, this piece right here is going to be for a print for the Kaiju and Cowboys Kickstarter print. And I actually started the blue line, maybe I want to say almost in January, I think, end of January. But now I'm officially going to start the penciling on today's, which is March 5th. So what I'm going to do is, again, this is going to be another mashup video. I'm going to try to get as much pencils on here and stuff. And then the rest, like, when I do the inking and stuff, will probably be hyperlapse and stuff. Because, again, I try to do the whole 4-hour thing when I'm talking. And yeah, it gets long-winded. Excuse me. So anyway, I'm going to get started on this. And all right, hope you guys enjoy. All right, so let's see. Now the thing about Kaiju and Cowboys, or Kaijus and Cowboys, we can get that right. I'm always like mixing up this. It's a comic book created by me and Matthew Blair, and me and Matthew have been working together on a webcomic series called Secret Lives of Villains for now it's going on maybe, I want to say 6 years. And so what happened was, he last year, he was like, "Hey Frank, let's maybe do a let's do something, since you're a huge fan of Kaijus and stuff like that." We actually worked on this story called Team KS1, about a team of Kaiju killers and stuff in the future. And that's kind of like where this concept kind of rolled off of. And so he was like, "Hey man, let's see if we can come up with something." And I told him that, I said, "I don't mind Westerns. I love Westerns, So, I came up with this concept of this kind of bounty hunter that's hunting down Kaijus on this world or whatever. Like, even I don't still know the full range of the story. But the first book pretty much is just an introduction to this character in this bizarre world. So anyway, let's see. I'm wondering if that could be like his tooth. It's all like last minute stuff. The cool thing is, like, when you're doing a blue line and stuff, this is where the ideas, you're sort of sitting there and you're trying to figure out how things are going to be and whatever. It's like, even though I drew this, like, I want to say again, like back in January or let's say late January. Jeez. My ideas constantly changing. I see something and I go, "Oh man, maybe I could add something else different to it or whatever." So right here is like, so the Kaijus that I have are kind of, they almost have a mechanical kind of feel to them, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they are, because they're just, we're still trying to figure out this whole universe and stuff. But yeah. So let's see, land it down. I'm gonna try to kick the speed up with the it helps that I already had the sort of blueprint already laid down already, so that helps a lot. So I'm going very, very loose, so you guys can, you can see right here, very, very loose. I'm not gonna go heavy-handed with the pencil and stuff, because a lot of this guy get erased and stuff. But now this is the point where I can kind of refine from the from what I did with my non-photo blue pencil, and kind of just add on to it. Start doing really intricate things. He has almost, I've always loved how the Next Generation Vulcan design, where he had this nice kind of forehead crest or something, very hard. So this kind of Minotaur, Bison, Kaiju being has this kind of heavy armored, like his head is definitely the most powerful part of his body. You know, I try to imagine like the ramming speed, like it just rams into stuff and just obliterates it, you know. All right, let's see, let's get his eyes. Okay, get in there. Let's go down in there. Let's see, that eyebrow's a little too big. And this is those points where you just kind of, this is the stage where you can just kind of, you know, sort of, you're thinking through the process. All right. I just want to add that the music that you're listening to is actually some music that I got from YouTube. It's royalty free, so yeah, like a mixtape of them. It's pretty cool. Made a lot of them, so keep it simple. All right, so we got that. Get some horns over there. All right, there we go. Let's see. I love this character, man. I remember when I first was concepting how he looked, and my first thought was, again, Clint Eastwood, the man with no name, you know. It's like this robot is almost like a Terminator. Doing the face, see, I'm a huge fan of the classic Japanese kind of robots with faces. I always thought it was very scary. Like you get these kind of like weird, like the eyes and stuff like that. You know, I love that stuff. And so I definitely, in the concept of this character, a lot of my stuff too is kind of, you know, I'm definitely a huge fan of it. I want people to know that I'm a fan of it. I think that it definitely is a, you know, it's helped shape the genre. And so it's something where I don't think we should forget about it. And so people like myself who grew up with it, I think it's our duty to kind of keep it, you know, at least out there in the ether. For next generation, it's sort of be like, okay, it's easy for people to forget where things come from. It's easy, you know. It's something that I've seen with a lot of different things. It's unfortunate, unless you truly are dedicated in finding out where something comes from. It's like, you know, something can become lost in just like, you know, it could be 5 years and all of a sudden something's like, oh, what? I don't remember that. Anyway, so I actually did change, like I did a version where I changed his face and I kind of simplified it. And Matthew was right. He kind of was like, nah, Frank. He's like, you know, I think you should keep this nice kind of skull, like weird face. It almost harkens a little bit to Death Head 2 from Marvel. That was another great book, a series, character. But my guy, because I got dreadlocks, he's got dreadlocks. Yeah, immediately I was like, he's gotta have dreads, man. Nothing says cool than like some dude with a, you know, cowboy, what do you call them? Cowboy hats? Like 10-gallon hat or whatever. I don't know. You know, but he has like the dreads or hair just kind of flowing in the wind. I always thought that was the coolest scenario. Like, oh yeah, that looks amazing. Okay. So right now it's just he's pretty much decking this this Kaijus getting the full deck. And again, you know, I always have people that ask me, and they go, well, how do you do it? And it's like, this is the truth is that this is what experience is about. You know, when you've drawn so many different things, I don't even know how you can explain it. You know, someone asked me that and I was just like, I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know if I'd make a great teacher in that degree, because it really comes down to experience. Everyone's different. Everyone's different in how they handle something. I can tell you about the fundamentals of art, you know, the foundation of it and how you should start off, but it's really tough to be like, you know, to get into the head of an artist and be like, well, why do you start off with the eyes? Why do you start off with here? Why do you know, because everyone is different. It's whatever's comfortable for you, whatever works for you, you know. I don't know if that's really, you can explain that. And it kind of just makes sense. You go, oh, okay. So I'm actually going very lightly on this, you know. All right, so he has this kind of control device up here. Now this is something, this piece right here, glad I took some time away from it, is that I wanted to do a piece that harkened back to the old days of Marvel, where you remember they would draw like the multiple characters, like a scene, like say a Daredevil, and like he's racing across the rooftops, and they would do this multiple scene of him with action scenes. So this is kind of like what I just did with this piece. And, you know, as I start laying it out, you start seeing the madness. You know, again, as someone who grew up with that kind of stuff, you know, I'm always thinking of ways in which, how do I keep it going? I think that there are fans out there that still, who don't even, first off, they don't know about it. So again, it's like, you know, you don't know anything until after you've get to experience it. Then you can go, okay, I don't like it or not. But if you haven't really experienced it yet, then, you know, you should have a chance to experience it. All right, so right here, I'm gonna jump over here, and I had this scene where you just kind of, so I think I'm gonna have some shards, because what I'll do is when I color it, you know, I'll use the lines and speed lines and I'll do all that nice little stuff, but I want to have it like his fist is kind of, you know, he's bust this creature's eye out. One thing about this character, there's still that part of me where I struggle like having robots with guns in their hands. It just doesn't make sense to me. I just got to get that out. So this character, when I was designing him, I went with a more Iron Man approach, which makes sense to me. It's just, you know, like if you were a automation or something, your weapon would be built into your body, similar to like wild animals. You know, it'd be your defense. It'd be your thing where, you know, somebody couldn't just knock that weapon out of your hand and take it from you because it's part of your body. And so when I designed this character, I put like his guns in, like his guns literally are in his forearms. You know, his wrist lowers, and then he has these massive cannons that come out. So he has like these. I think I also have like he has a grappling hook. He has like these knuckle sort of spikes and stuff. Yeah, he's definitely built for aggression. That was my whole thing with this character. I said I want to make him like he's just this mean, not mean. Let me take that away. He's not mean, but he's just built for battle. How's that? Let's do this. Lastly, let me just do this like this and do a little bit so it's kind of. Yeah, and I do talk to myself. I don't answer myself, but I do talk to myself. Especially when I'm in this moment, because this is the brain just kind of all over the place, got the jams going, feeling the flow, the art flow. It's funny. That saying, I remember coming up with that saying, man, and it just seems so natural. I still think it probably was because I can't wait for the new Dune to come out. And I remember in the original film where they mentioned that, they're like, the spice must flow. And I was like, oh yeah, dude, that's freaking amazing. Yeah, the art must flow, man. There can't be any excuses. You gotta get out there and do your thing. You have to ask yourself, how much do I want that? All right, let's see. I'm gonna do it all ripped and stuff. I actually did work on a Western comic, although I really don't think it's ever gonna see the light of day. It was for Cemetery Dance's Grave Tales imprint, which I don't know. I don't know if it ever is gonna see the light of day. I'm not holding out on that one, but I did the work and stuff, and it was like a zombie story about the West. And I remember I was excited to work on it and stuff because I was like, all right, I'm gonna get my reference. I got my reference out, man, on horses. Horses are tough to draw. And I was like, I gotta make this work, man. I really worked on it and stuff. And I thought that was some of my best work. It was like a scene where it was like the point of view of sort of where am I point of view, looking up at the the protagonist. Somebody, I think it was the protagonist, I believe. Well, no, I know it was someone. I think it was the protagonist. And I just love that scene. I was like, oh man. That's one thing about me, is that I love playing with the camera angle. I'm a huge fan of it. You know, I'm definitely not somebody who doesn't believe in just, you know, just doing basic or whatever, sort of static kind of, you know, fight scenes or whatever. I try to push the envelope. I try to continue, like when I worked in production and even on advertising with videos for film, you know, I was always told, like, you know, you got to think of it like there's this imaginary camera, and you're controlling this camera, and this camera has no boundaries. Like, it's able to go like in the sky and go high. It has no limitations. And that changed my whole perspective. I was like, okay, all right, it has no limitations. Until you tell me that it can't do that shot, then I'm gonna go as far as I can with it, you know, to try to push the envelope. He also has like these boot jets too. I tried it when I was thinking about this character. I just thought of these things where I'm like, I just want to make this character really interesting, and like that he's built to battle these giant creatures, even though he's like, you know, human size. I don't know if I did a scale. Maybe I'll have to sit down and think about scale. I mean, I would probably say he's roughly close to maybe 7 feet tall. I would go off of that, you know, maybe that's how tall he actually is. Close to 7 feet tall. But next to a Kaiju, that's like nothing. I think I did a size comparison thing on a sheet somewhere. When I usually do stuff like this, I do concept sheets. That's something that I always wonder when I see people and they're doing creating characters and stuff like that. I don't see like concept or character sheets laid out. Like, you should always have a fully functional character sheet. Just something to show that there's some thought behind what this character is. It also is great to have, because if you decide to have other artists working on it and stuff like that, it gives them a tool to work from. You know, something that will enable them to be able to, you know, work off of this thing. You know, you don't want somebody to be struggling. Like, you know, you send them like this picture of your character in this battle, you know, formation or whatever, or form, formation, stance or something, and then it's just like, okay, well, how does this character look when they're turning this way, or how does this character look, you know, from the back? Do we have any pictures of, you know, the back of this character? You got to think like that. You know, I would say, like, if you're trying to create characters, or spend the money, get somebody to draw like at least a front, back, and side view of your character. You know, that's able to showcase, you know, and simplicity. It doesn't have to be an action scene, just simple standing. That's something that's so necessary. You know, I worked on various different commissions or jobs or whatever, and it's like, man, my greatest enemy is lack of reference. You know, that's part of the job thing too, when you have to try to hunt down reference for something, and you're just like, oh my god, I don't, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna have it. He has a very stylized kind of, you know, do a little bit of, I'm not gonna get too crazy like how Todd McFarlane, whose stuff is I'm a huge fan of, but definitely this is not like Spawn. You know. But he's definitely, you know, look at how this, yeah, so he's in the forefront. So yeah, I think it has like a rip up here. So I'll just hit it with a little brush so you have a rough idea. So there you go. Got some spittle over here. Seeing that this is going to be a crazy detail piece too. All right. Again, this is all going to be nice line work until I can so he has like, I'm gonna do this. Now in this universe that we're working on, there's we try to establish that there's a kind of look for the Kaijus and stuff like that. So they all have this kind of 3-eye kind of thing. But some are different, you know, definitely some are different, but that's been sort of like the key thing, like, you know, trying to keep them. It's almost like, I loved how like in Pacific Rim, how there was a standard, like they all have a basic kind of thing, design. That means that they're from the same family kind of thing. And I thought that was really well thought out. I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, all right. So we draw it like that, a little bit of, I like the idea, this big bison. And I actually looked at some reference of bisons and stuff. So I was like, oh, I like this, man. His ears. Let's see. Let me see if I can remember. So for this, I wanted to put the hair kind of like a swept, so the force of it's like, boom. So I'm gonna have it like, boom. I kind of like the idea. This is massive, like, boom. Now, mind you, I'm not much of a letterer, but I love doing the effects and the lettering, you know. I just find that sometimes it's easier to incorporate in it, you know. I like letterers but you just don't see sometimes a lot of that, where it's not part of the art. So I've started really getting into, you know, putting that as part of, making it as part of the design sense of the actual piece. You know, it just goes back to that classic way of so yeah, his hair's kind of swept up. Yeah, so all right, I wasn't really expecting this to go too far, but all right, I'm gonna stop at this point, you know, and then the rest is gonna be hyperlapse, because this right here has been long enough. God, man, I don't, you know, again, I don't want to bore you guys talking too much. I want you're here to check out the artwork. So this is some old school ranting on and stuff. So anyway, this is the point. I'm going to be shutting off, and then the rest is going to be hyperlapse. I just want to thank you again for hanging in there and checking out what I'm doing. And please share and subscribe to the channel if you can. And all right, let's do this.